In New York, the Marlins and the Mets celebrate Roberto Clemente Day all across baseball. We recognize the contributions of that terrific right fielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's the Marlins, it's the Mets. Come on out, meet the Mets, and see the Marlins, and see who wins this series. Yeah, talking to you, Mr. Met. Marlins got Game 1, Mets in a big way last night. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, along with Tommy Hutton. What a long, strange trip it's been for the Marlins. I mean, you start with Giancarlo Stanton and that horrific beating, the Jonathan Papelbon salute, and now here are the Marlins trying to finish the season without Giancarlo Stanton, and Craig will have more on that in a little bit. But Tommy, the task at hand, beat the Mets, win this series, and try to go 500 on the road trip.
You can do those things with a win tonight, and that's exactly what Mike Redmond would like to see his ball club do, win this three-game series and get to 500 on the road trip.
Starts with the starting pitching. Henderson Alvarez has had a very special 2014. May get a couple more starts, but if he can finish strong, this is one he'll remember.
You know, the 24-year-old, the entertainer, has had a lot of starts against the Mets. 8 career starts. He's 4-2 with an ERA about 3.5. Last time out, he was terrific against the Phillies. A no decision, but look at the numbers, just 1 run and 7 hits and no walks in his 7 innings of work against that tough Philadelphia Phillies lineup.
So Alvarez going for the fish. Now the Mets go with Dylan G. He may be a back-of-the-rotation guy for the Mets. Don't tell that to the Marlins. He looks like a frontline starter.
Well, he spent some time on the disabled list earlier this year, about a month. He had a strained right lat muscle early in the year, tremendous against the Marlins. And in his career, Dylan G, a 3-0 record in 5 starts against the Fish with a 2.30 ERA.
So the Fish tonight here in New York, their quest, win the series. And they will have to do it without Giancarlo Stanton for the rest of the year. Craig will have more when we return to New York. This 3-game series, Fish looking for win 74. Craig Minervini down below. Craig?
Well, very much, Rich. Giancarlo Stanton was hoping to keep his incredible season going even after suffering that gruesome injury last Thursday, jarring teeth, fracturing bones in his face. It was a valiant thought, and he meant it, but all that came to an end after the official announcement today.
Giancarlo Stanton's officially done for the season. The doctors at the end felt like he needed, more time to heal, no doubt, and it wasn't worth, rushing him back and to make sure that he was properly healed up and ready for next year.
He's made tremendous progress, but there was still some swelling, and then the multiple fractures. It just wasn't enough time, not enough schedule to get him back and get him on the field.
Baseball people called the 6'6", 242-pound Stanton Superman. And almost from the moment he was hit last Thursday, this man of steel vowed he would try and come back this season. Crazy? Maybe, but not surprising.
I mean, that's just the way he is. He's a competitor, and he wants to be out here and be with the guys more than anything, I'm sure. So, and we want him here too, but we also, we worry about his safety and everything as well.
We didn't expect anything less, and the fact that he said that, we knew that he wanted to be out there, and it was genuine. So, but that being said, we know, what the smart thing to do is. So, as a teammate, I would think I would let him do it. I'd probably tackle him before he got out there.
He told me he can open his mouth 60% now. So the slices, the food that he has to cut they're in halves now. They were in quarters a few days ago, so now they're in halves. So every little, every step is progress, and he's pleased with the progress.
High praise for all the medical teams, both in Milwaukee and Dr. Kaplan's led team at the University of Miami Hospital. They did a great job. And one other thing is Mike Hill told us that they will try and get a couple of at-bats, if possible, for Stanton in the Instructional League, which runs through the first week of October before he goes back to California. That's the hope anyway. All right, got baseball coming up. The Marlins can make it a winning series if they can beat the Mets here tonight in the Big Apple. Road trip finale coming up next on Fox Sports Florida.
Let's go places by AT NY UVerse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. 1-800-PICK-AT&T, mobilizing your world. By Checkers. Checkers has 3 favorites in one box. It's the $2 shrimp and chicken bites and fries box. Only at Checkers. And by your South Florida Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. Photo opportunity right in front of Citi Field. All lit up, ready to go. Marlins and Mets. The Fish at 73 and 77. Jan Lexus brings you the lineup. Christian Yelich, couple of hits last night, trying to finish strong in these last 11 ball games. Donovan Solano's at second. Casey McGee at third. Marcell Ozuna had a rough night last night. He's at center. Garrett Jones back at first. Reed Johnson had a nice night last night. Adeiny Echeverria, after a night off for a bit of a sore shoulder, is back in there. And Jeff Mathis, who caught in a win in Game 1, is behind the plate with Henderson Alvarez slotted at ninth. Dylan G, maybe a .500 pitcher on the season, but an ERA of under 4 and really good against the Fish.
You know, he's also a little bit over 500 in his career. He's 40 and 33 in his career. Making his 21st start, he did miss some time on the disabled list, and you'll see a kind of a no wind-up hesitation right there from Dylan G, who's a guy who needs to have excellent control to have success.
2 very different ball games in this series so far. The Mets last night crushed the Marlins 9-1. Bartolo Colon was at his very best. 7 2/3 just a run. And of course, on Monday night, the Marlins were able to come back twice, beat the Mets 6-5, even on a night when Jacob deGrom punched out 13, including the first 8 that he faced. Yelich with the count 1-2. In on the hands, and Yelich fouls it back. G, 28. Clyburn, Texas is home for him. Yelich got a breaking ball, hits it well, left field. Then Decker is there and makes the catch. Had to turn, had to find it, and he did both of those things and then makes the catch.
And here is a look at that Mets defense. Matt Den Decker out of Fort Lauderdale. He's in left. Kirk Neuenhuis, Curtis Granderson fill out the outfield. Daniel Murphy, Ruben Tejada, the hero of last night's game. Wilmer Flores back in there at second base. Lucas Duda, the first baseman, and Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher.
Donovan Solano now. Solano last night had a nice night. He was 3 for 5. And G catches the plate. It's 1-1. That one flipped down the right field line. It's going to land for a base hit. Solano. It's a little wet down there on the track. Picked up by Granderson. So a 5-hit series for Donovan Solano.
That one's just called well placed.
Casey McGee's had a couple of well-placed balls like that over the last 3 games. He dumped one down there last night. Then he climbs in with a couple hits in the series. Dylan G is kind of the Tom Kohler of the Mets. You know, a guy that was not taken in the upper rounds, 21st round draft pick, has had to earn his way to the big leagues and has been durable and dependable since he has arrived. The 28-year-old. University of Texas at Arlington. The Mavericks. They went to the NCAA tournament when he was there in 2006, much like Kohler did with his ball club. Up into center field. That's a base hit for Casey McGee. So McGee singles. Solano stops at second before Ozuna arrives. Here's the Mets defense.
Let's look at the scouting report. We talked about the little no windup hesitation. Command pitcher's got to be around the strike zone, usually is, and a very good changeup from Dylan G.
Ozuna now. For Marcell Ozuna, Bartolo Colon was somewhat of a mystery last night, especially in the fifth, in a big moment. Called out on strikes. He took 3 fastballs for strikes. And unfortunately for the Fish, that came with the bases loaded. Not necessarily a turning point in the ball game, but it was a chance for the Marlins, who were down 4-1, to try to claw back. The game would deteriorate from there when Brad Penny tried to come in and stop the damage with Nathan Eovaldi getting knocked out of the game. And Ozuna punches one into left field. That's a base hit. Solano to third. He's held there. Then Decker's throw is cut. And Miami has him loaded with 1 out. And Garrett Jones coming up.
Good to see a little more aggressive Marcell Ozuna pick up that base hit. He's had a terrific road trip. 12 for 36. Thinking he's going to score on the Ozuna base hit is Solano. He should think that way until he saw the stop sign from Brett Butler.
Now Jones settles in. Jones got the start in last night's ball game, was 1 for 3. Infield plays for 2, and Jones fouls it back to the screen. With the bases loaded this year, it's not been the best of seasons for Garrett Jones. 1 for 15. And so an opportunity for the Fish. The Mets are thinking ground ball. Jones is thinking drive something through the infield and into the outfield. And it squirts away from d'Arnaud. Everybody's going to move up. And McGee takes a healthy turn around third as well. Solano scores. Miami's on the board. And just like that, the double play opportunity is gone. And the Marlins are up 1-0.
Boy, this ball really got away from both Dylan G and from Travis d'Arnaud.
Almost looked like it hit Garrett Jones' foot.
I think it hit d'Arnaud's foot.
Let's watch.
Boy, it hit something because it squirts directly the other direction.
And it went between his legs.
Yeah. I guess it'll be a wild pitch. That's what they've scored it.
It hit. I think it hit Garrett Jones's back foot. And Jones is smart enough not to do anything because he knows it turns into a wild pitch. Watch this.
There are times. Yeah, he kind of turns it. There are times that you jump up and down. You want to say you got hit.
Not this time.
That's not one of them.
That one fouled back.
And had a good pitch to hit.
From SNY, their super slow-mo look.
Yep, right on the toe, back toe of Garrett Jones.
So Jones is now hitting with runners at second and third.
Of course, there's another way to look at it,
too.
If he takes the hit, bases are still loaded, and you have the run anyway.
And he gets an RBI. Pitch misses outside. I think Jones' reaction was, let's leave well enough alone and continue the at-bat.
I'm really surprised d'Arnaud didn't put up more of a beef.
He may be torn as well as to, well, what's the better outcome here if you're the Mets or if you're the Marlins? I guess we'll find out when this inning is done. Counts 2-2.
Well, this is where Garrett Jones ground ball to the right side. Ground ball anywhere.
Right, infield's back.
Gets a run in. So contact important here.
Little tapper up the line. It's going to die, and everybody is safe. McGee scores. And so Jones, who could have had an RBI on a hit by pitch, keeps his mouth closed, lets it go to the screen, and he gets an RBI on an infield single.
And he can also thank Casey McGee for getting an absolutely tremendous jump at third base. Watch Casey. Boom, here goes the ball. He's almost to the plate by the time G gets to it. So great jump by Casey. An infield base hit and an RBI for Garrett Jones. And also moving over to third was Ozuna.
Reed Johnson now at the corners with Ozuna at third and Jones at first. Johnson last night had a real nice night. He had 3 hits. I think if you wanted to take bright spots out of last night's 9-1 loss, there's probably 3 guys. One is Reed Johnson, 3 for 4 with a double. The other, Donovan Solano, 3 for 5, all 3 singles. The other was Andrew Heaney, who came in and looked sharp at the end. And there might be a start a little later on in the year for Andrew Heaney. Marlins have that doubleheader in Washington.
Well, that's right, and I think a little confidence builder in Heaney, giving the ball club a nice inning in a third.
Sounded like it hit him. It did. So it hits Reed Johnson. He's aboard. And he's on his way to first. Bags are loaded again. And here's Echeverria. So G clips Reed Johnson, who is a guy that's on the plate and gets hit a lot. And it's usually right there.
Caught him around the belt. Looked like it on that back hip area.
He's always near the top of the list in hit by pitch, especially among active players right now.
So a lot has not gone well for a guy who usually has pretty good command, Dylan G.
Echeverria. And there's a strike. Now Echeverria did not play in last night's ball game. He's battling a little bit of a sore shoulder, sore left shoulder. He certainly finished with a flourish on Monday night. 2 big hits, the double in the 7th and then the 2-run single in the 8th as the Marlins had to erase 2 deficits. He may be fortunate on that check swing. That can't be easy to check your swing, Hut, with a sore left shoulder. With Ozuna, Jones, and Johnson out there.
Yeah, he got the sore shoulder, or if it's a wrist. We talked about that in Milwaukee with Carlos Gomez. Sometimes that check swing is the one that bothers you most. Good curveball that time from G.
Bases filled with Marlins and 2 runs already here in the first. G trying to catch the corner, and he missed. Veteran umpire Jerry Davis is behind home plate. Greg Gibson at first, Phil Cuzzy at second. Howell Gibson, no relation to Greg Gibson, is over at third. 2-2 to Echeverria. Jeff Mathis on deck, Dylan G. That's the breaking ball that he got Echeverria to swing at, though not as well thrown as the one that ran the count to 1-2. It's 3-2 now.
Now, if you're Terry Collins watching Dylan G, you're saying, they haven't hit the ball hard. A blue base hit by Solano. The Garrett Jones swinging bunt.
Just stays alive, does Echeverria.
That's okay. That was off the plate, but we've seen so many called third strikes in situations like this. You'd rather see Echeverria just try to stay alive and foul that pitch off, which he did.
Very long top of the first. 27th pitch from G. Echeverria to short, Could be 2. Flores the turn, and the Mets get a double play, and the Marlins finish up here in the first. They do get 2 on 4 hits, and it's 2-0. Greg. Night falling in Gotham as the Fish have a 2-0 lead. World's Fair Marina right down the street. Jay Alexis, as always, arrives with the Mets lineup. Matt Den Decker, Daniel Murphy, Travis d'Arnaud, Lucas Duda, Wilmer Flores. Have a night last night. He drove in 6, had a couple home runs. Curtis Granderson in right, Kirk Neuenhuis in center, Ruben Tejadas at short. Dylan G hits 9.
Well, we get a look at Henderson Alvarez, the 24-year-old right-hander, making start number 28 on the year. And really, depending on how things go, he could have 1, maybe 2 more starts this year. Trying to maintain that terrific ERA. ERA at 2.81. Spent a little time earlier on the DL with shoulder tightness, and then I just missed a little bit with that side strain. And there's that old-time windup. Here comes a fastball, and there it is. Maybe not a fastball.
89 miles an hour. Den Decker leading it off, 0 for 5 in this series. That 92 on the radar gun. As Tommy pointed out at the outset for Henderson Alvarez, his last time out pitched very, very well. The problem was, so did Cole Hamels. They both went 7, and they both gave up just 1 run. And neither was around when it was decided in the 10th. And there's Alvarez. He kind of dialed up every pitch, 89 to 92 to 93.
And that one had some real nice movement. Watch it start inside and then come right back. Got a lot of the plate and fooled Den Decker.
It's a pitch Bartolo Colon threw very well last night. That comeback fastball.
Yeah, Henderson top 10 in the National League with that earned run average.
Up the middle. And Murphy's got a hit. Just like clockwork against the Marlins. It's Marlins and Mets, and Daniel Murphy has a hit. Miami's defense.
Well, let's see how the Marlins set up defensively tonight with Yelich, Ozuna, Reed Johnson in their second consecutive start. Casey McGee and Echeverria, Solano and Garrett Jones, and Jeff Mathis handling Henderson Alvarez.
It's like a defensive scouting report. Here's d'Arnaud. And Alvarez misses into d'Arnaud. The Mets feel like they have found a guy that could be their catcher for some time in d'Arnaud. And he was the apple of a few organizations' eyes before he got here.
He's been involved in some interesting trades.
That's right. I mean, he was a Philly, and then traded to Toronto, and then traded to the Mets. That just begins to tell the story there.
You have to delve deeper, as they say.
So instead of USA Today, you have to be like 60 Minutes, right?
Yes.
You want to do that? Should I be the clock and you can be Leslie Stahl? Or you want me to pick somebody else?
Well,
Morley Safer?
Well, I know one thing. They're all older than me.
Here's the 1-2. And it's line foul. Well, it's the guys he was. I mean, he would be one of the headline prospects that would go in both those trades. And he would go for, two Cy Young Award winners, Roy Halladay and R.A. Dickey.
And R.A. Dickey.
One-two. Breaking ball, bouncer up the middle. Etch has got it. Gets to the bag. Gets the out at first. And gets the double play. The Entertainer is headlining tonight in New York. And it's 2-0 Miami. Second. Thursday, Marlins and Nationals. Hey, Hud, that's tomorrow. Get to a Subway restaurant, get a voucher for a $5 ticket. Seniors 55 and older can receive free tickets on Senior Free Ticket Thursdays, presented by Wellmax Medical Centers. Go to Marlins.com today. Jeff Mathis climbs in, Dylan G to work. Marlins got 2 runs on 4 hits in the first. Got a little Henderson Alvarez and Christian Yelich for you as well in the second.
There's been some tossing up of the rotation for the Nationals with them clinching last night. But it appears to be Gio Gonzalez tomorrow night against the Marlins.
We were anticipating the Hand-Fister matchup.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think we'll see Fister the next night.
Of course, if you're Matt Williams, you're thinking about a lot of things.
Well, that's right, and that's why he changed a little bit of his rotation. He has Blake Trinan pitching tonight in Atlanta with quite an interesting lineup that Matt Williams has put together.
Yeah, it's you don't want to say it's the B team, but it's a group of guys that you're not used to seeing in the starting lineup. He can't afford to do that very long because the Nationals are still involved in fighting for home field advantage.
Well, the Beltway was celebrating last night with the Orioles clinching the East and the Nationals clinching the East.
See, I think if there is a Beltway World Series, then that should not only settle who's the world champion, but it should also settle the Masson lawsuit. The television rights dispute that's in court between those two.
Maybe settle a lot of things in Washington.
Yeah. Henderson Alvarez swings and misses, and hopefully he doesn't hurt himself on that swing.
But the Nationals have Michael Taylor and Espinosa, Kevin Franson, Tyler Moore, Nate Scherholz, Sandy Leon catching. I mentioned Blake Trinan pitching tonight. At second base, Jeff Kobernus. But I think when they come to South Florida, you'll see maybe not every regular in at the same time. Even though you'd like to do that, you want them to continue to play together and get used to each other and stay used to each other.
It's that age-old question going into the postseason. Great to get to the postseason. Do you want to clinch with 2 weeks to go, or do you want to clinch with 2 days to go, or maybe on the last day and have momentum going into that postseason series?
I'm for momentum and taking it right up. Guys are used to routines and playing and all that. It's great to clinch early, but I would go the other way and say, give me the momentum, even if I have to clinch on the last day of the season.
That's why for a guy like Matt Williams, you got to think that he will really emphasize to his team, we need to get home field advantage. We got to have a better record than the Dodgers, or if the Giants catch the Dodgers.
Which it looked like the Giants gained a game on the Dodgers today.
Yeah, the Dodgers were crushed 16-2 by the Rockies. There must have been, I don't even want to look, but there's probably guys that had 4 hits and 6 RBIs in that.
Charlie Blackmon had 5 hits.
Thank you. And the Giants scored late to beat Arizona 4-2. So here is Solano. Dodgers lead is 2 in the West now after those 2 games. Yelich back with a dive.
I think the other thing that Matt Williams is going to have to decide, well, hey, we'll have 4 games to talk about it when the Nationals are in town, but he's going to have to decide and determine what his rotation is going to be.
Yelich may have been hit. I think he was hit by that ball that ends up rolling underneath him.
Who starts game 1? Is it Strasburg? Is it Zimmerman? Is it Tanner Roark, who's been tremendous? Where does Fister fit in?
And do you keep 5 starters on your postseason roster and turn that 5th guy? Yelich is running, pitches out, throw is high into center. Yelich decides to hold there with Nieuwenhuis hustling in.
Boy, did he get a great pitch to steal base number 20 on. A slow breaking ball, got a great jump, and really d'Arnaud didn't have a chance.
And the 22-year-old left fielder Christian Yelich now with 20 stolen bases to go with 26 doubles, 9 home runs, 6 triples.
Well, here's the thing. If you're the Nationals, Roark has pitched some out of the bullpen. Not this year, but he's done that. And if you face a team that has a few lefties, you might want to have Gio Gonzalez in the rotation. But you're not going to use 5 starters.
No, and so do you take that 5th guy, keep him on the roster, and turn him into the super reliever guy that Tim Lincecum became in the last Giants World Series in 2012. That's a off the end of the bat, dumped into right. Solano has found 2 hits out there, and this one drives in Yelich.
If you totaled up the footage of the 2 base hits of Donovan Solano tonight, you might get 250 feet. But he has stayed back. He's been rewarded by staying back and trying to go the other way. And watch what he does. Breaking ball, stays back.
So he initially looked up like it was a pop-up. And that was just over the outstretched glove of Lucas Duda. So Miami's got a 3-0 lead. And here's McGee with Solano at first base. And McGee up the middle. Getting to it is Tejada. And he gets it to first in time to get McGee. Inning ends, but the Marlins get a run. And it's 3-0.
Rich, thank you very much. You know, the great one, Wayne Gretzky, wrapped up his amazing hockey career here in the Big Apple at Madison Square Garden playing with the Rangers. And there's a little connection between the great one and Marlins outfielder Christian Yelich, who's at dinner at Wayne Gretzky's house. Goes back to Trevor Gretzky, who's Wayne's son. He's about 21 now, and he's a minor league baseball player. I was talking to Christian today. They were pretty good friends. In fact, he'd go over to the house and have dinner from Janet and Wayne every now and then, and also gave him a little advice when Trevor Gretzky was deciding whether to go play baseball for the late Tony Gwynn then at San Diego State a few years ago, or to turn professional, and he decided to turn pro. The Cubs picked Trevor Gretzky with the 7th round pick in 2011, and earlier this year, before the season, traded him to the Angels organization. He's still languishing in the lower levels at single A, and he's hit .268 over a few seasons. But as for Christian, he says Wayne's just a real nice guy. It's always great to go over there. And by the way, he went to school with Paulina Gretzky, who was a little older than him, a famous actress. Well known. Back to you guys.
Quite well known.
Yes.
In many circles. Lucas Duda opens up the bottom of the second with a hit to right field. 3-0. Marlins on top of the Mets. Wilmer Flores. It was Wilmer Flores night last night here for the Mets. 6 RBIs. First 15,000 fans got a chance to see Wilmer Flores have a career night part 2. It's the second time this year he's had a game of at least 6 RBIs.
That's pretty amazing. He's the only major leaguer to do that this year. Have 2 games of 6 or more RBIs.
The Gecko's here. Whenever you have a big night, the Gecko usually is right on your heels with the quote of the day: good pitches and good swings. They hung 2 breaking pitches, and I was on it. 2 homer and second. 6 RBI game of the season. Bouncer in the hole. Echeverria has it. Stumbles. Still gets the out. Wow, Echeverria. That's a real gray area for a shortstop, because if you dive, you probably don't get anybody. So you're trying to stay on your feet.
Yeah, you see how he's shaded a little bit toward the bag for a double play. There he is, just maintaining enough balance to get a good throw off to Donovan Solano. And Solano thought about throwing, but he realized he didn't have a chance for a double play, so he just kind of stretched out to take that throw.
You know, watching that play and looking at the infield and the warning track, it almost seems like they put a little too much water on the field, because Etch tried to slide a pop-up slide there and his foot kind of stuck. Knocked into right field. Johnson comes on, picks it on a hop, throws to second, and gets him. Whoa! Reed Johnson with a beauty of a play in right field.
We've seen 2 times now in this series a runner get thrown out on a base hit. Saltalamacchia got a sinking line drive hit, and Garrett Jones was thrown out. This is a heads-up play by a veteran player. He knows he can't get to the ball, so he short hops it. He has, out of the corner of his eye, he sees where Flores is, and then throws a one-hop strike to Echeverria. That's nice.
So a fielder's choice, 9-6. And Garrett Jones knows exactly how Wilmer Flores feels, being stuck in the middle there as the runner from first to second. Kirk Neuenhuis up now.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the minor league record of Trevor Gretzky. He's a first baseman. Hasn't hit a lot of home runs, and he's had some injuries. Really has yet to put together a full season, but in about 2.5 years in the minor leagues, a .268 minor league average.
Into center field, Neuenhuis with a solid hit. And so first and second for the Mets, with Tejada coming up. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Counts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. In case you missed it, earlier tonight on Marlins Live, Michael Hill, Mike Redmond announcing that Giancarlo Stanton would not return in 2014. The doctors feeling that he just needed time to heal, and you give Stanton credit for, from the very start, the night of his injury, even before he was headed out, he said, "I'm coming back." And the recovery that he's made has been startling and incredible, but the doctors feel that it's wise over the next 10 days to just let it rest. It was interesting that Michael Hill did say the Marlins, with instructional league starting in October, might get Stanton some at-bats in October just to calm his mind and I guess erase the worry that you might have over the course of an offseason after that awful night in Milwaukee. Alvarez just missed.
Well, we certainly, and I know Marlins fans certainly wish the best of recoveries, and I thought the best line by Michael Hill talking about how his eating habits have changed. He was eating quarter pieces because he couldn't open his mouth all the way. Now he's up to slicing things in half, and pretty soon they'll be gobbling down whole chunks of stuff. So keep up the strength, and I hope we'll get a chance to see Giancarlo, and I'm pretty sure we will,
without a doubt,
when we get home.
He has doctor appointments tomorrow, so I'm not sure if the Marlins will see him tomorrow night, but I have no doubt that we'll see him at the ballpark in the series against the Nationals. Tapper towards McGee, has it, steps on the bag, and Alvarez gets a ground ball to end the second. 3-0. Miami. People, rise up. Grab your tablets, your smartphones, your devices. Not you, Jonathan Papelbon. Hashtag FLFanPhoto is where you want to tweet your photo. It's brought to you by AT & T. It could be the AT&T Fan Photo. Toyota Trend magically appears. Batting average on ground balls. Juan Uribe is kind of the king of pulling the ball in the hole and getting a hit. But Ozuna right behind Drew Stubbs, Josh Rutledge, and Yasiel Puig. And a chopper wide of third.
It's an interesting list because as you look at that list, you see guys like a Drew Stubbs who everyone has said when he makes contact, he's going to be a better hitter, a guy who's struck out a lot in his career.
Ozuna swings and misses. Well, you've got a strong guy certainly in Puig, and I think Ozuna fits in that profile. He hits a lot of hard ground balls. Giancarlo Stanton is actually 6th on that list, so that goes along with a guy that hits a lot of hard ground balls. That's a Houston Astros logo on the knob of his bat, Tommy Hutton.
And a little looping line drive will get him some base hits too, so a 2-for-2 night.
He may be using Jose Altuve's bat. I don't know. We've got to get to the bottom of that story. Look at the knob of the bat. Unless he's just an Astros fan and he put it.
I don't think so. It might be a bat that the Marlins haven't been in Houston for a while. I mean, it was a month or so ago. Maybe it's a bat that Kike brought over.
That's right. I mean, he goes through it. A lot of times guys will experiment with bats. Jones pulls a ground ball to second. Flores to Tejada, who turns the double play.
So I would guess Kike more than Jared Kozar bringing some bats over.
Did you see what was on the end of Matt Duffy's bat? Matt Duffy of the Giants has the Simpson character Duffman on the bottom of his bat.
Is that Major League approved?
Well, Duffman has got his own bat. Yes, it is Major League approved. It's Fox approved too. And there might be some homers in that. Sorry, that was really bad.
Yeah,
I know.
It's all right. So where are you going?
It's a late season attempt at livening up the telecast.
And many more to come. Next.
Hey, we had a whole season full of it last year, so. Here's a 1-1 to Reed Johnson. Reed Johnson hit by a pitch. Marlins got 2 in the first, added 1 in the second.
Reed Johnson in his career, a .342 average against the Mets. It's a ball club he's always hit pretty well. See, he did just there what he did when that pitch hit him in Milwaukee, and it was called a non-swing.
Yes, he did. But not a swing. Greg Gibson umpiring down at first. Through one pitch. In on the hands and popped up behind the mound. Flores makes the catch. Dylan G getting a double play ball and having a quick third inning. So that's we've got wall-to-wall coverage. I wonder, we had 9 questions with Preston tonight, right, on the pregame show. Maybe we can ask Mookie about, what was the name of the girl his first kiss was?
Karen
Johnson?
Karen Johnson, I think.
Or maybe the Brown Taurus, his first car.
Well, the Mets have what they call club ambassadors, and Mookie Wilson is in that club. Rusty Staub, who we saw tonight, he's in that club. Tom Seaver, Edgardo Alfonso, and John Franco. So they do a lot of things in the community for the Mets during the season.
Dylan G, Matt Den Decker, Daniel Murphy for the Mets, and Henderson Alvarez misses up with a fastball. That's a foul ball. Dylan G giving it a good effort. He'll need a new bat.
You know, one of the other numbers to me that really stood out in looking at the season that Henderson Alvarez has had this year, his record against the National League East. Alvarez in 15 starts against the East in the National League, 5-2 with a 2.39 ERA.
To center, Ozuna, like he's running a post pattern, and G hit him right at the 10-yard line, hit him in stride.
For a guy who was 0 for 34 coming into that at bat, Dylan G had some pretty good swings.
Matt Den Decker now.
And you look, we keep looking ahead, and when you look to next year, one of the areas that the Marlins really need to improve in is beating the clubs in their division.
That one's out of Solano's glove, and Neuenheitz, or rather Den Decker, beats the throw.
Well, to Den Decker's credit, he never stopped, even though the line drive was in the glove. He kept going hard, and that's why he beat it out.
So he's at first. Murphy's up, and so is Craig. Craig?
Well, we ran down one of my favorite Mets, and this guy, you don't get more popular in New York than Preston's dad, Mookie Wilson. It's finally great to have you on the air.
Man, it's good to be here. I watch you guys all the time. My first time on.
Preston was on the show here tonight. We asked him about his first car. Do you remember what it was? A brown, was it Taurus? Do you remember the car?
Oh yeah, it was a Ford Taurus, but I had to upgrade him shortly after that. But yeah.
And we also asked him his first kiss. I think he said her name was Karen Johnson or something. I don't know if you remember her.
Well, he can't keep up with him. I can, so I don't know. I
How about being back in a place that you are loved here? Must feel great every time you come in.
It's great. The fans have always been good to me here, and I just respect the fans, and I love the fans. It's my second home, so I enjoy coming here.
Mookie, you had a chance to watch, obviously, the Marlins pretty closely with your son on the broadcast. I know we're all sad to see Giancarlo's season over, but your take on watching him on a night-to-night basis.
I mean, one of the thrills I've had is watching that kid play. I mean, he's just phenomenal, and to watch him improve from year to year offensively. But I think people overlook how well he improved defensively. He's just a complete ball player, and it's only about two guys in the leagues right now that I can think of, and that's Carlos and the kid out in California.
Trout.
No, Trout. Yes, that's it.
How many times do you go by a day and somebody doesn't mention either Buckner or Game 6 or that moment, and is it still great after all these years for you?
Well, no day goes by that we don't talk about it. And the stories change gradually. I have to lie a little bit to beef it up there once in a while. But it was a great moment in people's lives, and definitely was a great moment in my life and in baseball history. And I'm proud to be a part of it.
Anything you want to say to Preston, who's probably watching in some comfortable, maybe he's eating a steak at Morton's?
I watch him. He eats a lot. I don't know where he's putting it, but I'll tell you that. But he's doing a great job. Keep doing a good job, and you can always call me for advice on these plays.
You're the best. Mookie Wilson, guys. Thanks, Mookie.
All right, thank you.
All right, back to you.
Well, you can see where Preston gets his personality and charm,
right
huh?
Good stuff right there.
Daniel Murphy, Den Decker now at second base, and Alvarez comes in and jams Murphy. Murphy single back in the first.
So I'm just trying to think now. We've completed the Preston Wilson family. We had his mom on in Atlanta. And then Mookie on tonight.
That's right. And Preston was the one that actually interviewed his mom.
Yeah.
3-0 Fish, bottom three. Alvarez looking for win number 11. Certainly he's pitched well enough to have more than 10 wins. He's 10-6 coming in. His ERA 2.81. And this is start number 28. He's had some nice runs this year. Had a streak of 68 innings without giving up a homer. Not a guy that throws a lot of pitches per inning. He's second among all starters. Only Clayton Kershaw throws fewer pitches. 13.5 for Kershaw. Alvarez averages 14 pitches an inning.
just missed with a pretty good fastball there. The point I was trying to make in talking about the divisions, the Marlins this year, the only team in their division they have a winning record against, the Atlanta Braves. So if you're going to start taking care of business, you got to take care of the Mets, the Phillies, the Nationals, those teams that are in your division.
3-2 coming. Little tapper. What do you make of the Braves collapse? We were,
wow.
You and I were going through Dave O'Brien, who writes a terrific blog in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, had a real nice column kind of summing up the issues that the Braves have had offensively in September, and a lot of their bats so quiet, especially the guy that was the loudest in July and August, Justin Upton.
I thought the thing you brought up in reading that, the lack of leadership aspect.
In terms of veteran players, Brian McCann was always a guy that would get in your face, whether you were a Brave or an opponent, and maybe they miss a guy like that.
Martin Prado.
Yeah, a great point. Prado, so versatile and so valuable. Chipper Jones was that way near the end of his career. Eric Hinsky was that way.
And we know they got hit with injuries early on with their pitching staff, but you always thought the offense would take care of things. And that's where they've really lacked, especially the last month or so.
Murphy putting up a good battle here. Yeah, terrific pitch. That's almost a pitch that Alvarez is inventing tonight. He doesn't normally throw that 90-mile-an-hour comeback fastball, does he?
No, and a left-hander, and in this case, you see Murphy, he thinks, oh, it's inside. He gives up on it, and it comes back and catches the inside part of the plate.
What's the grip? Is that a changeup?
This might have been the changeup. Because when we see 89 or 90, it's usually the changeup, and that had some good movement. Usually the movement is downward.
That's a big strikeout of Murphy. Here is d'Arnaud with 2 outs. Let's take a look at the grip. It is.
Yeah, it's kind of the term that a pitcher will use. They choke it off. They just grab it a little harder. Spreads his fingers to pounce a little bit.
d'Arnaud swings and misses. Ball and a strike. 3 runs on 6 hits for Miami. Mets still looking for their first run of the night. Alvarez trying to get that groove back, get that balance back. You saw him after the pitch kind of motion that he felt like he fell off towards first base. Lucas Duda on deck.
You know, he's had such an incredible run at home this year. We've talked about it. He's not pitched badly on the road. 4-4, ERA of 3.86. Not the ERA he's had at home, but still very respectable.
Alvarez very demonstrative now. You see him kick the dirt out in front of the mound.
Is close to going over 170 innings. And remember, Henderson Alvarez last year, just 17 starts. Started the season on the disabled list with shoulder problems.
Three and 2.
So this is a 2-button night for Henderson. He's got 2 unbuttoned.
Chuck Hernandez watching. We haven't seen Alvarez really light up the radar gun, and remember that was the case when he came out with the oblique injury. Wow. Outside corner. Henderson Alvarez, 88 miles an hour. He's got 3 scoreless in the books. The Chrysler Building, ladies and gentlemen. Night Marlins and Nationals and fireworks. It's on the 19th. Fans 21 and older can enjoy happy hour at the Budweiser Bowtie Bar from 5:30 to 6:30. Stay after the game for a fireworks display presented by Miccosukee Resort and Gaming. Go to Marlins.com for tickets. Here's a Danny Echeverria. And he shortens. Takes the ball 1. Dylan G. Marlins got to him for 2 in the first. 4 hits there. Another in the second. A walk, a stolen base, and a hit there. Fish got a hit in the third. But G got a double play grounder. And that one narrowly misses being extra bases. 1-1.
A couple of years ago, Dylan G had quite a scare. He had a clot in one of his arteries that needed surgery.
Whoa! Travis d'Arnaud. How about that?
Well, those are just great reactions. Not a good attempt by Etch because the ball almost hits him, and then he pops it up. And look at the reactions. d'Arnaud not only flips the mask off, but is able to just leap out and make that grab with all that gear on. I'm always amazed how catcher does this. He sees it, flips the mask off, and notice how courteous he is. He flips the mask the other direction and doesn't hit the home plate umpire.
That's always a good idea. Here's Mathis now, and Jeff Mathis struck out back in the second.
But for G, his fingers were becoming numb. And fortunately for him, they discovered he had a clot in his artery and had to have surgery to repair that. Ever since then, he's been fine.
Major League Baseball today disciplined Joe West. Suspended him a game for making inappropriate contact with Jonathan Papelbon.
We kind of talked about that at the time.
Not a big surprise, although in his statement, Joe Torre also said that Joe West was correct and used the appropriate action to eject Papelbon after his gesture, which drew a 7-game suspension.
thought it was interesting in the Papelbon suspension. It is with pay, but there is a substantial undisclosed fine attached to that.
Alvarez on deck. Darno doesn't have to leave his feet for this one. Two outs, and here's Alvarez. Marlins will be arriving in the morning hours back in Miami after this one, but right back to work tomorrow night. We'll have Marlins Live for you. Our friends at South Florida Honda dealers have been with us all year long and are with us tomorrow night.
And we'll get to take a little journey over to Newark Airport tonight after the game.
Marlins cannot fly out of nearby LaGuardia. The curfew, so to speak, for takeoffs makes it such that the Marlins, to make sure they get out of here, have to bus across the island and into New Jersey and out to Newark. Alvarez swings and misses and strikes out. Miami's done in the fourth. 3-0 Marlins. Palmetto 57 Nissan, Palmetto 57 Volkswagen, home of your money back guarantee. By Blue Bell Ice Cream and by MCCI Medical Group. Call us to schedule a visit to your nearest MCCI center. MCCI Medical Group, keeping you healthy. We kind of sense that Henderson Alvarez, his last inning on the mound, that side might have been bothering him. This is the end of his last swing. A little bit of a grimace. And then as he comes off the field, he holds that left side. Alvarez, first pitch is a strike, and it's 0-1, 92 miles an hour. That's kind of where he's been living. Not the 94, 95 you're used to seeing him throw with his fastball.
Well, remember, it was against the Mets that he went just 2 1/3 innings in Miami and had to come out of the game with a little side tweak there, and didn't pitch for 10, 11 days until that next start, which was his last start in Philadelphia.
If there's anybody on the Marlins staff that can pitch when he's not 100% and doesn't have his velocity, it's Henderson Alvarez, who seemingly can make up pitches as he goes, and sometimes does. There's 94. Alvarez thought he had a strike.
We actually saw him freeze Travis d'Arnaud with what looked like a cutter or a slider that had some really good movement.
Alvarez, did you see that reaction? I mean, last hitter, he kicked the dirt in front of the mound when he missed with a pitch. He is the entertainer, isn't he? Here's the 3-2. And he lost him. So he walks Lucas Duda. It's a leadoff walk. Wilmer Flores and Curtis Granderson coming up.
So we have Cedric the entertainer, and we have Henderson the entertainer.
What you'd like and what Alvarez would like would be Henderson, the ground ball getter. Right now, he'd love one, try to turn two. Against the guy that had a big night last night.
Yeah, you know he's upset at walking the leadoff man, Lucas Duda.
Are there any other pitchers in the league that are as relaxed, it seems, as Alvarez is out there? He doesn't seem to be bothered by much, except maybe missing on that fastball.
Yeah, he's usually that way in the clubhouse, too, even the day he pitches.
Into center field, well hit. And Ozuna picks it up on a hop, and the Mets have something going here. Granderson, Neuenhuis, and Tejada.
6 for 9 now in the series for Flores. Yeah, Henderson Alvarez is the kind of guy you could go in the clubhouse and you wouldn't know if it were a day he was pitching or if it were a day he was not pitching.
There are some pitchers that have that game face, got the hoodie on, have music going, are staring straight ahead, and are essentially in a no-fly zone in their own world in the clubhouse. Duda's at second, Flores at first. Granderson, Solano's got it. Echeverria turns it. Beautifully done. 4-6-3 with a little bit of a nuance to the turn by Echeverria. He was unable to step through with the runner, so he had to do a flat-footed turn.
Mainly because of where he was playing. Normally a shortstop is coming at the bag because he's over on that left field side. But he was almost behind the bag, so he's coming at the bag a different angle. But he made the adjustment and did what he always does. Made a perfect throw over to first.
And that's exactly what Alvarez needed. Here's Neuenhuis now with Duda at third base. Mathis cuts that one off. Neuenhuis out of Azusa Pacific. Spent a good part of the season in Las Vegas. We have a terrific crew here in New York. We always do. And they have pointed out that for Granderson, it's the first double play he's hit into this year. 529 at bats.
Wow.
There's your Mets box score.
Well, you have a guy who runs fast, but there are a lot of guys who run fast still hit into double plays. I would say that's an anomaly. Let's see if we can find out how many hit into last year.
Ball in the dirt, Mathis knocks it down. He was the only guy with enough at-bats to qualify in the National League who had not hit into a double play. The leader now is Billy Hamilton, who has not hit in a double play. Looks like Hamilton has hit into one in 545 at bats. He's hit into one. Alvarez really cutting down and in on Neuenhuis with that slider. Ruben Tejada on deck. D. Gordon is second now in the National League, hardest to double up. Again, he goes down and in. Breaking ball, 91 miles an hour. Henderson Alvarez, 4 shutout innings and a 3-0 lead. And moves to America's new sports network, Fox Sports 1, your new home for baseball's National League Division and Championship Series. And it all begins this October. Henderson Alvarez, 4 shutout innings. The Marlins have given him 3 runs. It's the top of the order. Their third crack at Dylan G. Christian Yelich, Donovan Solano, Casey McGee. Yelich lined to deep left, walked, stole a bag, and scored in the second.
No, it's interesting with Curtis Granderson in the not hitting into many double plays. Upon further review, last year, remember, he was injured a lot, just 61 games. Still, he had over 200 at bats, but he hit into just 1. You go back to his last full year in 2012, he was an all-star with the Yankees, 160 games. He hit into only 5.
It's a walk. Yelich takes another one, and he's aboard. He stole second by a great margin back in the second. Tomorrow, it's the Nationals, the newly crowned National League East champion Nationals. And the hometown kids on the mound. Checkers brings you the matchup. Gio Gonzalez, the Hialeah lefty. Brad Hand trying to finish 2014 strong. And Hand has looked pretty good his last couple of starts. Hand went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs on Saturday in a close ball game in Philly. He lost that game. He beat Atlanta in his previous start.
Brad Hand in his last 2 starts has not walked anybody, so that's been the key for him.
Solano has 2 hits. They both went to almost the same spot, and that was in a little patch down the right field line behind first base, and he shoots that one down the line, and that one is foul. And the count's 0-2. McGee. Breaking ball. G has it. Fires to short. Got one there and got two there. Tejada turns it.
You know, sometimes when that shortstop gets the ball so soon and is starting to turn the double play, as a runner, you got to get down. And so Yelich slides well before he's getting to the bag because he has to get down for Tejada to complete that throw.
Or else you're wearing the baseball.
Yeah, and you don't want to do that.
Here's McGee. The lacquer on McGee's bat is a light brown, and it blends in with the pine tar. It almost looks like the entire bat from the middle up has pine tar on it. That would do George Brett proud.
It would upset Billy Martin.
And Tim McClellan would say, hey, get a new bat. Tim McClellan must have been a very young umpire for that. I mean, he's still in the game, right?
He still is.
And he was the guy that was behind the plate for the pine tar home run. Here's the 2-1. McGee rolls it out to second. Flores gathers it in and gets the out. Dylan G is in a bit of a groove. Halfway through in New York, 3-0 Miami. Spectacular. It's a 4-game series against the Nationals. Hispanic Heritage Night is presented by Outback. Post-game party at the Clevelander presented by Lipton Brisk. A strike to Tejada. We got Dylan G, Matt Den Decker against Alvarez, who has been mixing speeds, moving his fastball and his changeup. has been throwing his slider tonight, too.
Yeah, I would say it's been a little different version of Henderson Alvarez tonight.
Shallow left. Echeverria out. And he makes the catch right in front of Christian Yelich.
You got a couple of guys with some really good closing speed in Echeverria and Yelich. You know, when they converge on a ball out there in shallow left center.
Here's G now. Alvarez trying to get through this 5th inning. As Tommy pointed out, G with the bat on a long dry spell. He does not have a hit this season. Swings and misses there. Oh for 35, but he hit the ball hard twice in his at bat. He lined one foul and then lined one to center.
Yeah, I think Alvarez pitching him a little differently here.
There's your first pitch, strikes 14 of 18.
He's done that. He's done that all year.
0 for his last 41 if you want to go back to last season. And he's got the hit. So his first hit of the season comes on September 17th. And there they are. They've been waiting for that.
They may ask for the ball. And Rich, there's probably some Marlins fan that's going to blame you for saying that he's 0 for his last 41.
I'll take the heat, Tommy. That's okay. So G has a hit. Then Decker is up. He hit the liner that went in and out of Solano's glove. That went for a hit back in the 3rd. It's another liner. This one narrowly avoids Solano's glove. Well, the Mets are barreling some balls up tonight. Alvarez has 2 double plays that has helped him out. There's Daniel Murphy, who's a really tough out.
So the kid born in Fort Lauderdale, Matt Den Decker, with a couple of base hits tonight. Always a doubles guy, Daniel Murphy. At 38 doubles last year, has 34 so far.
Murphy hitting at 296. Who's going to win the National League batting title? It's going to be a low figure you would expect.
Well, Justin Morneau helped his cause today.
Murphy cracks that one foul. Murphy, actually, speaking of crack, has cracked the top 10. Is now 8th in the National League in hitting at 296. This is coming into today. Harrison by a point over Morneau.
Morneau was 3 for 6 with a home run and 6 RBIs against the Dodgers today. And he's up to 320.
Hit hard and a diving stop by Jones, and he gets to his feet, gets to the bag, and saves a run. Garrett Jones, terrific play. There are 2 outs. Here's d'Arnaud.
Well, that's great reactions. You don't expect Murphy to pull. You see Jones inching a little bit off the line, reacts, gets down, takes it himself, and just like that, a big out on a really nice play by Garrett Jones.
And he just continued his tumble and rolled on over, got to his feet, and got to first. Alvarez steps off. Big swing by d'Arnaud. Alvarez had 3 complete games early in the season. Pitch number 79 here. And it runs in. d'Arnaud, one of those guys where you think maybe coming up to the big leagues, finally after a highly touted minor league career and all the potential, not having success, going back down to the minors, figuring it out, and he's back and having success now, is a good lesson and for a lot of players and fans too, that oftentimes prospects get to the big leagues and fail.
And that's basically what this game's all about, is dealing with the failures, and d'Arnaud still just 25. And then a lot of times, as a young prospect, as you pointed out earlier, being involved in a couple of big trades that involved Cy Young winners, R.A. Dickey and Roy Halladay, you know, a little extra pressure. You add that to it. So expectations.
Lost him. Bags are loaded. Duda is up. Duda's walked and singled. It's a big moment here. Alvarez trying to hold this lead. Mets have their slugger up, who's at 27 home runs.
Their career matchups, Lucas Duda's 4 for 20 against Henderson Alvarez. One of those a home run.
Big swing and a miss. And it looked like the changeup at 90 miles an hour. Into center field, that's a base hit. G will score, Dendecker right behind, and the Mets have cut into the lead. Lucas Duda with a big hit.
Well, the big guy having a really solid year. He's hit 27 home runs. Those are RBIs 82 and 83. Pitch was out over the plate. He's big and strong, and he found that opening up the middle. The one that Henderson Alvarez would like back in this inning, though, was the walk to d'Arnaud that set the stage for Duda with the bases loaded.
This is the guy that had the big night last night, Wilmer Flores. Sam Dyson. We told you Wilmer Flores had a 6 RBI game earlier, and then last night he got to Brad Penny and got to him twice. A fastball and a breaking ball.
You know, when guys are locked in and hit the ball well, they don't know what they hit. And if you saw the quote, if you remember it, from Flores, he said, yeah, I got 2 hanging breaking balls. The first one was just a 2-seam fastball that hung in a good spot, but was not a breaking ball. But that happens a lot. When a guy's hot, he sees the ball. A lot of times he's not sure what the pitch is.
One, two. Left field, deep. Yelich, Ozuna with a leaping catch up against the wall. Wilmer Flores came a few feet away from another. But Ozuna was there, got to the wall, kissed the wall, and holds on. And the Marlins are hanging on to a 1-run lead.
Excuse me if I kiss the wall.
Field now. The Marlins were up 3-0. Henderson Alvarez was cruising, but the Mets on a Lucas Duda single make it 3-2. Tommy Hunt, Craig Minervini, Rich Waltz with you. Ozuna cracks one to center, And Neuenhuis has to make a leaping catch of that one.
Well, remember the leaping catch that Ozuna made earlier off the bat of Dylan G. And then he made that catch against the wall. This time he gets robbed by Kirk Neuenhuis on a ball that just took off and continued to carry. That ball was stung by Ozuna. And good reactions and a really nice play by Neuenhuis.
Garrett Jones now had about a 40-foot single that drove in a run. That was a dribbler up the third baseline with the bags loaded in the first.
We've talked about it, Rich, in the Mets' future as they look ahead. You have guys, two guys, and I'll put them in a similar category, Dylan G. and Jonathan Neese. Mainly because they're not overpowering guys. They'll have Matt Harvey back. They have Zach Wheeler. Don't forget about Bartolo Colon. You got to figure he's going to be a Met. Jacob deGrom, and a youngster who's yet to prove himself at this level, Noah Syndergaard. So they're in pretty good shape with their pitching, and maybe a G or a Neese would be trade bait for somebody.
Jones sends a liner to left. Den Decker makes the catch. 2 outs. Reed Johnson comes up. Johnson a 3-hit night last night. Inside corner. You can see why Johnson has been hit so much in his career. He crowds the plate. Pitcher tried to get him out with that fastball in. And that one almost hit the jersey again.
Well, coming into this season, Reed Johnson was 5th amongst active players, been hit 125 times.
Backing up is Murphy, whips it across, catch and tag, and Johnson is out. And Dylan G, a 1-2-3-6.
Fan, this was the can't miss souvenir to get. It's the Mets yearbook year by year, but what I liked about it best was Hall of Fame broadcaster Bob Murphy's pitch on the telecast to sell it, and it went something like this. The Mets yearbook is now on sale. 64 pages in full color. All the pictures are suitable for framing. It'll go great in your baseball library. Here's a great picture of Tom and Nancy Seaver on Family Day. There's Felix Mian and his lovely wife enjoying a day at Shea. The Mets yearbook, you can order it for $1.25. To Mets yearbook, Post Office Box 10, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. Use the zip code. It's 11368. Now back to Rich and Tommy.
Outstanding stuff. You got the Mets. It was like a walk, not down memory lane, but up memory lane from the early yearbooks to the later ones.
Well, the best thing, and certainly it applies to all yearbooks, is when you look at the early prices, $1.25, you could get that yearbook.
Curtis Granderson lines out. Henderson Alvarez touched for 2 runs in the 5th, and it would have been more were it not for a great play by Marcell Ozuna streaking over to rob Wilmer Flores of extra bases.
There have been some nice plays from the center fielders tonight. Neuenhuis and Ozuna with a couple.
Neuenhuis has singled and has struck out. Dyson is up. This has not been a high velocity game for Alvarez, and we've seen him after a swing grab that left side. He doesn't show any visible signs of it right now, but Chuck Hernandez and Mike Redmond at this stage of the season with a very close eye on him. Little dribbler. Alvarez has it and throws. That may be his fastest pitch right there. That bullet to first to Garrett Jones.
Well, always, all season, we've seen Henderson Alvarez help himself at the plate defensively. So you have a pretty good feeling when he comes off the mound and picks this ground ball, he's going to make the play. And I also have a pretty good feeling that Mike Redmond and Chuck Hernandez would feel very good with the 6 innings from Henderson Alvarez in this one tonight. Also, he's due up 3rd, and I don't know if you'd want him swinging the bat again.
That one pulled foul. Ruben Tejada, a guy that the Mets are still waiting on to find it offensively. And a 24-year-old Panamanian. Look at the ball boy selling out.
Well, it's a contract year for him.
That's a good point. Ozuna lines it up and makes the catch, and Alvarez does put 6 in the books and leads it 3-2.
Clemente Day around the major leagues, and we want to say nice going for Steve Cishek, the Team Roberto Clemente Award winner. We asked him about this great honor today.
Yeah, came at a little bit of a surprise, and it's just an incredible honor just to have my name in the same sentence as Roberto Clemente, and all the works that he did on and off the field. Just like I said, to have your name tied in with that it means a lot. It's pretty cool.
One of the things you've spearheaded is help the Baghdad troops. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Marlins came at me and kind of gave us a list of stuff, and I love golf, so that kind of caught my interest. And especially after talking to one of my friends, he's in the Navy, he's on a ship going out to Europe. And I was telling him, what group I decided to join up with, and he's like, man, that is great. Like, anytime, someone sends us stuff, just a little bit of a reminder of home, it means the world to us because we're out here on the ocean for so long. I'm like, wow, I didn't know it would leave that much of an impact for someone, and just to have on their free time, to be able to hit golf balls, take out some aggression on golf balls, and it just seemed like something great to be a part of, and I just wanted to jump right in, and it's been great ever since.
Great. Steve is the team spokesman for the Bunkers in Baghdad program, and he was telling me today they sent their 5 millionth golf ball overseas just a few months ago. He is one of the 30 finalists representing all the teams around baseball for the prestigious award. Guys?
It is a very nice honor and very deserving for Steve Cishek. Jeff Mathis bunts it. Daniel Murphy fields it. A catch and tag on what will turn into a sacrifice bunt, and the Marlins certainly will hit in Henderson Alvarez's spot. Mathis lays down the bunt. Echeverria in scoring position. And Kike Hernandez comes up.
Yeah, that's really some great stuff that Steve Cishek is involved in, and he's, he's a tremendous young man too.
So here comes Hernandez. Kike had a base hit last night. Also homered on this road trip on Sunday in Philly.
Looks like Terry Collins has a left-hander getting ready, probably for Christian Yelich.
Ball and a strike. Josh Edgen is that lefty. Carlos Torres is the righty. Ricky Bonas taking notes. One and two. Mike Dunn in Miami's bullpen. Looks like Mike Dunn will get the call in the bottom of this inning. In the seventh, 3-2 Miami. Dylan G wobbled out of the gates, giving up 4 hits and 2 runs in the first. Another run in the second, but has tightened it up since. And a gorgeous changeup. Hernandez swings and misses. So there's 2 outs. Family Sunday on the 21st. Marlins and Nationals at 1:10. It is Jose Fernandez bobblehead. Kids can run the bases after the game as well. First 12,000 fans get a Jose Fernandez bobblehead. The Pepsi 4 for $50 4-pack is also in play. Dylan G exits. Edgen is in to face Yelich. Miami trying to add to a 3-2 lead. The Palmetto 57 Volkswagen leaderboard. There's a look at Edgin's numbers. 1-0 with a 1.35 ERA. Opposite field hits, and the two leaders in the National League, Daniel Murphy, Christian Yelich. Yelich in this ball game has walked twice. And he's lined out, and he's facing the lefty.
Well, Yelich is, as we've talked about, hitting .313 against lefty pitching. But, you know, Terry Collins makes a move. Edgin, number one, has a fresh arm out there. I'm sure he was pleased he got 6 2/3 from Dylan G. And one of the numbers, when you looked at the line of Edgin, opposing batters hitting .185 against him.
Yelich drives that to left center field, hits it well. Neuenhuis on the run, reaches, won't get it. By him, off the fence. Echeverria scores. Another opposite field hit for Yelich. This is 27th double and an RBI lefty-lefty matchup, and that favors Yelich.
You know, sometimes I think managers just make the move, and I'm not saying anything against Terry Collins. I think every manager would probably make that move. However, we've pointed out he's hitting 40 or so points better against lefties. He stays back well. He drives the ball the other way. A lot of those balls that he's hit the other way for base hits have been off left-handers.
And then Yelich thought he caught it. Did you see him pull up? So Edgin exits. Torres is in. Kendall Toyota called to the pen. In the 7th, with 2 outs, Christian Yelich, RBI double, has stretched the lead back to 2. Donovan Solano at the plate to greet Carlos Torres. Josh Edgin in just for one hitter. I think if you're watching at home too, some may have said, why would you hit Kike Hernandez in that spot against the right-hander Dylan G and not Justin Bour? But the Mets surely would have gone to get Edgin a batter earlier, and it would have been Bour against the lefty or Hernandez against the righty, and that's probably a better matchup.
Yeah, when you're Mike Redmond, you know that if you make that move, you got a pretty good idea what Terry Collins is going to do. That's why he had the lefty warming up. So then you have to decide whether rather have Kike Hernandez against possibly a tiring Dylan G or Bour against the fresh lefty. There's a lot goes. It's not just I'm going to make the move. You got to think about it.
Ball in the dirt. Darno got a piece. Miami trying to get out of New York or escape from New York. And win this series. I haven't seen that documentary yet. Is it the beautiful bastards of baseball? The documentary on the Portland.
I have not seen that.
Mavericks. A swing and a miss. And down goes Solano. So Solano strikes out. Yelich drives in a run. It's 4-2. Clemente Day here in New York. Fan photo time. AT&T fan photo time. Just tweet your photo, hashtag it, FL fan photo. Rachel. It's like taking in some batting practice at Marlins Park. Kike Hernandez. Now we've seen Mike Redmond make this move and have Hernandez come in into right field. Mike Dunn is into the ball game for the Marlins. Takes over for Henderson Alvarez. 6 innings for Alvarez. Eric Campbell's going to get the at bat for the Mets in the pitcher spot.
Well, and the versatility of Kike Hernandez allows Mike Redmond to make that move. There are many positions you could put him in.
So Campbell digs in, and Dunn starts his night missing outside with a fastball. This was a Dylan G. Henderson Alvarez night, at least to begin the night. Now it's into the bullpens. Alvarez 6 innings. 8 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Alvarez exits the game with an ERA of 2.82.
Now, Mike Dunn has really put together a very, very good year, and a lot of decisions. Obviously, he's been in games that have been tied, but 10 wins in his 71 appearances. Opponents hitting .216 against him. He's given up fewer hits than innings pitched. And for Mike Dunn, he struck out more than innings pitched. So some good numbers this year from Mike Dunn out of the bullpen.
Den Decker is next. And a strike from Dunn. G went 6 2/3. Responsible for all 4 runs, and they're all earned. 7 hits. Walked 2, struck out 4. Back to the screen. Count at 3-2. Ball game's going on right now of significance. Well, hard to find one. Well, the Pirates hammering Boston 9-1. Pirates looking for win number 81. Pittsburgh in that wild card race has got themselves in the second wild card position behind the Giants, who are first, and ahead of Milwaukee. Milwaukee a game and a half out of that wild card. Milwaukee is scoreless against the division leader St. Louis in the 4th.
You know, tip of the cap to the Pirates. They took a lot of criticism in the offseason for not really doing a lot with their ball club. And here, with 81 wins, more than likely they'll get another. They will have put together back-to-back winning seasons after all those years without one.
That's right. All the way back to Jim Leland. Leadoff walk from Dunn. Chase playoff standings. Nationals have clinched it. As Tommy pointed out, they have a nondescript lineup out there tonight, and they're trailing Atlanta 3-1 in the bottom of the 7th. Cardinals, as we pointed out, scoreless with Milwaukee, but they're on top in the Central. St. Louis's lead 2.5 games. And the Dodgers lead down to 2 games. They lost big today to Colorado, and the Giants beat Arizona.
You know, the Giants beat Arizona last night as well. Got another tremendous game from Jake Peavy, who was 1-9 with a 4.70 ERA with the Red Sox. In 10 starts with the Giants now, he's 6-4 with a 2.16 ERA.
Den Decker, the former Gator. And he swings and misses at a high fastball. All SEC for 3 consecutive years. Only the second player in conference history to accomplish that. And unfortunately, in the little note, it doesn't have the first. We've got to find that out, Tommy Hutton. Westminster Academy, so he's a South Florida guy. Getting a chance to play with the Mets here, and he fouls it back.
I think that's an area where the Mets have to decide on guys like Den Decker, on Kirk Neuenhuis. They do not have Juan Lagares, who's been plagued by some injuries this year. We saw him in the first game of the series. But there's a little brief bio on Matt Den Decker.
Counts 1-2. Den Decker, 2 hits in the top of the order in this one. Then you got Murphy. Then you got d'Arnaud. Hit well. Ozuna is there, and he makes the catch. You think back to the catch that Ozuna made on the Wilmer Flores ball in the 5th. And that saved a couple of runs. That's a big, big play right now here in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, you bring it up, Rich, and we're going to get a chance to see it again as Jeff Mathis goes out and visits with Mike Dunn. There it is, well timed, the leap just perfect. It didn't quite have home run distance, but just great timing by Marcell Ozuna.
Murphy pops one up, and Echeverria is there, and he makes the catch. That I asked the question with Den Decker, the note that he was the second player ever to be, for 3 straight years, an All-SEC award winner, first
How about
team.
Brad Wilkerson?
Well, hey, look, our baseball historian is working on it, but just a quick peek online. Here's what I found. Rafael Palmeiro was a 3-time first-team All-American 3 years in a row. He's the first player in baseball history to do that. So I'm assuming if he was a first-team All-American for 3 consecutive years, he was a first-team All-SEC pick. Just a wild guess.
I would agree with you.
Kendall Toyota called to the pen. And Ramos will get Travis d'Arnaud. Mets have a runner aboard. Crowd here at Citi Field trying to get the Mets started.
Well, a little blip on the screen the other night for A.J. Ramos, because you see what he's done this year. He's been tremendous. But the other night, faced 4 batters, walked 3, gave up a hit and a run. He just could not find the plate. So you hope things have changed a little bit in this appearance tonight from A.J., and you got a feeling it probably has. And that's a good start.
Breaking ball in the corner. Strike 1. d'Arnaud in the 3 spot for the Mets tonight. Fastball 0-2. You got Duda hitting cleanup. Mets are without David Wright for the rest of the year. You see inherited runners. 20 of 27. He is stranded. Right out with the rotator cuff inflammation on his left shoulder. Got him. Breaking ball. Now that's the A.J. Ramos Marlin fans have come to know and to love. 4-2. Marlins, Mets, and the Major Leagues celebrate Roberto Clemente Day here in New York. Our AT&T Uverse Rewind. Tommy Hutton, you had a chance to watch this guy when you were in the big leagues and when you were growing up.
Well, I really did. I was very fortunate. My first full year with the Philadelphia Phillies was 1972, and that was Clemente's last season. And certainly the Phillies and Pirates matched up a lot, so I was able to see him play offensively, defensively. I think surprised he wasn't a big guy. Roberto Clemente about 5'11", maybe 180 pounds, 175, 80 pounds, but boy, he could do it all.
Is he the best Rule 5 draft pick ever? It's the Dodgers that had him.
They tried to hide him. The Dodgers tried to hide him up in Montreal with their AAA team, and it didn't work out. Well, it did for the Pirates.
Jeurys Familia becomes the third reliever, the fourth pitcher to work for the Mets. McGee, Ozuna, and Jones for Miami. Smokes into center field. Casey McGee is 2 for 4.
Yeah, good to see Casey stay up the middle. Both his hits up the middle. Continues to stay top 5 in the league in base hits. 169 base hits now on the year.
Ozuna looking down to Brett Butler. Marcell Ozuna 2 for 3. And the one out he made, probably the hardest ball that he's hit of the night. That was the shot that Neuenhuis went back on and then had to leap at the last minute to make the catch. Very good road trip. Started it with the home runs in 4 consecutive games.
Boy, he had some shots in Milwaukee too, didn't he? And I think we were all impressed at the 462-foot center field shot, but I really liked the 2 he hit to right field.
Boy, he cracks another one into left field. A sharply hit ground ball. We showed that stat earlier in the night. He's one of the leaders in ground ball base hits. Never too late to download MLB.com at the ballpark mobile app. Great features throughout the year. You can check in through the app, earn free tickets. Download MLB.com at the ballpark. Daisuke. He's got his cap on tonight.
He's in full uniform tonight. Yes, he was warming up the other night, didn't have a cap.
It's the night the Mets were in their fatigues for Military Monday.
I think this warm up, the fact that he has the cap, is a serious one. He might come in the game.
Yeah. I would assume that a cap is a mandatory piece of the uniform, though I wonder when that became official, that you had to wear a cap. Was that from the very start?
Boy, you think about some of those old turn of the century black and white photos. Everybody had a cap on. Cap Anson wore his all the time.
Yes. You're right about that. Cap Anson did. Two balls, two strikes. Ricky Bonas looks like he has the challenge flag for the NFL.
He's hanging around his belt. Yeah.
Just in case it's needed, he can throw it from the bullpen.
We had a Ricky Bonas story today on the bus after the ballpark.
That's true. It took a long time to get from.
It was one of the times
Midtown Manhattan to the ballpark.
Yeah, there was a standstill. There was a wreck.
Jones swings and misses.
We didn't think we'd get the ballpark on time, and mostly broadcasters, a few officials on the bus. But Ricky Bonas was on the bus. He was pitching the game, and he kept telling us, "I never take the bus. I always take the subway. I never take the bus." He almost missed the start, but we got here just in time.
And now Mike Redmond will deploy Justin Bour. Jones with the strikeout. Bour hits in Reed Johnson's spot. Or excuse me.
That was in the double switch when Dunn and AJ were
right.
there. Yeah.
And Kike went into right field. So in the pitcher spot, it's Bour. And he takes down low from Familia. Terry Collins. If the Marlins can win this ball game, they go to 74 and 77. The Mets would fall to 73 and 80. Bour lifts it left field towards the line. Den Decker over, and he makes the catch. So 2 outs. Echeverria comes up. Cold hard facts are always brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Marlins have spent 102 days in 3rd place. 2nd in Major League Baseball. Seattle a little bit longer, stuck behind Oakland and Anaheim. Mets have been in 4th place, the most in Major League Baseball, 116 days. Here's Etch. That American League West has been really an interesting race to watch. After Oakland made the big trade to get John Lester and sent Yoenis Cespedes out of the middle of their lineup, their offense plummeted, and thus Oakland plummeted from out of the division lead. And the Angels at 94 and 57, a 10.5 game lead. Merely a formality before they clinch. Ball in the dirt, and it's right in front of d'Arnaud. Oakland, meanwhile, as we pointed out, first wild card. Seattle is a game back. There's the West. Seattle is 2 games behind Oakland, who's a mere 1 game in front of Kansas City. Kansas City the 2nd wild card, Oakland the 1st. And Seattle right on everyone's tail, just a game back. So the next 11 days should be rather entertaining.
I think, too, one of the other things when you really look at the American League, the teams that most likely will be going to postseason, you try to look and you say, who would I not want to face? You know, who's the hottest? Who has the best pitching? You know, the Orioles don't really have an ace. I just personally don't see them going a long way into postseason. They have some of their best players are out for the year. Matt Wieters, Manny Machado, Chris Davis now with his suspension. So you look at the Tigers and you go, you know what? They're pitching, and they've been there before.
Well, you pick any of the 3 teams out of the West, and they all have pretty good pitching, right? I mean, even Seattle scares the heck out of you.
Seattle scares me more than the Angels. Because remember, the Angels, when we were out there, they lost Garrett Richards, their ace at the time. They'll go with Shoemaker, Weaver. That's why a lot of people, I think, now especially, that they can align everything the way they want. Rest guys if they want. The Nationals have all the pieces going into postseason.
(3-2) to Echeverria. And he fouls it at the plate and hits the deck.
Off that front toe.
Now you're talking about the Angels. And you're right. Garrett Richards is out, and Shoemaker's going to miss a start with a strained oblique.
Josh Hamilton's been in and out of the lineup, not having a good year.
You look around the rest of their lineup, though. Calhoun has had a real nice year in right field.
He's been great.
Kendrick at second base, Ibar at short, Pujols.
Of course, they have Mike Trout.
They have Trout.
Pujols had to leave the game the other night, just a little hamstring. I don't think it's serious.
No, he was in the lineup the next night, so
okay.
It was a cramp. Dan Worthen out to chat with Familia.
That's what I get for speculating that it was a hamstring.
No, but you're right. It was a hamstring cramp.
Oh, okay.
So you were accurate there in that. It certainly was a scare for the Angels, and they're going to have to deal with what we were talking about, a team that clinches early, try to keep the edge.
That's the key, the edge. It's hard to keep the edge when you've clinched, because baseball's not a game you can turn it on and off.
U2's been able to do that. Right? Here's Jeff Mathis. Ground ball third. Murphy backing up, loads up, and throws a. Oh, wow. Gets the out. Mathis crashes and tumbles at first. I think he's okay. I think he was trying to duck under Duda in case he tried to tag him, and he tripped over the bag.
with only 10 days after what happened last Thursday. Giancarlo Stanton getting hit in the face today. The Marlins did officially announce that his season will be over.
When your player says, hey, man, I want to try to come back if I can, then obviously you're going to support that decision. But at the end, it comes down to the doctors and making the right decision and doing the right thing and making sure that we get him properly healed for next year and for spring training.
And no doubt that Giancarlo wanted to try and play again this season. Doctors finally decided probably not a good idea. Mike Hill did tell us, though, that the Marlins would like to get Giancarlo, if possible, some at-bats in the Instructional League, which runs through the first week of October. The progress has been great. A lot of kudos to the doctors, especially those at the University of Miami Hospital, led by Dr. Kaplan. And we'll see, and hopefully we'll get a look at Giancarlo in the next day or so back home. He does have some extra treatments tomorrow. We may not see him till Friday, but a lot of players are expecting to see him tomorrow. Guys?
That will be a real boost to the ball club.
Yeah, and I'm sure to Giancarlo as well. He'll want to get out and see his teammates, and as much as they want to see him.
Chris Hatcher in the ball game. Hatcher facing Lucas Duda, then Wilmer Flores and Curtis Granderson. 4-2 Miami in the 8th. If you look at the Marlins record and you say to yourself, a win here, they're 74-77. Probably out of it in the wild card. I mean, mathematically alive, but for all intents and purposes, Miami opens play 7 games back. The thing for the Marlins and Mike Redmond and Chuck Hernandez, that is get the last place label off their backs. The Marlins have finished in last place in the East the last 3 seasons. 2011, 12, and then last year they lost 100 games. Duda walks. So Hatcher, a leadoff walk. Here comes Flores. Marlins Live brought to you by Checkers. Marcelo Ozuna, big impact tonight and on the series. Nice start by Henderson Alvarez. Now of concern here for Hatcher, and you saw the look on Mike Redmond's face. Wilmer Flores hit 2 homers last night. He nearly hit another one tonight on a ball that Ozuna made a leaping catch at the wall in left center field. And that was back in the 5th. So one swing could really change this game, and this guy's had some great swings in this series.
Well, and following Flores, you have a guy who's certainly struggled this year in Curtis Granderson, but a veteran and a guy who has 18 home runs this year.
Flores down the right field line into the corner and just into that first row of seats. Kike Hernandez giving chase. No swing. 2-2. Breaking ball. Flores lays off. Up the middle, Echeverria streaking across the infield, gets the short hop, gets the out at first. Nicely done by Echeverria.
Yeah, and as he was coming after that ball, he had to make the decision. If he lays back on it, thinking maybe I can catch it and tag the bag at second, he might not be able to do that. So he's got to make sure he gets an out, so he charges it and gets the out at first base.
Marlins have been playing Curtis Granderson in a shift to pull. Echeverria way over the middle. And that one gets through Mathis and finds its way to the screen. Wild pitch, Steve Cishek quickens his preparation just in case Mike Redmond needs him here in the 8th.
Now at this point, you just have to worry about getting an out. If the Mets score the run, so be it. You want to get outs.
Hatcher catches a corner. 1-2. Well, sort of. Got a break. Let's see if he takes advantage. 1-2 to Granderson. And this time Mathis got the gate down, took it in the chest.
Now, right now, having a little trouble with the breaking ball, either the slider or the splitter. And Hatch has bounced a couple, got some help from Mathis on that last one.
Yeah, Mathis has to smother another.
So if you're Granderson, you've seen him bounce 3 pitches to you. You are anticipating, you're not going to guess with a 3-2 pitch, but you're anticipating a fastball.
There's Neuenhuis. We've seen Cishek come in and get 4-out saves. I think he's done it, but I don't remember a 5-out save lately.
Tell you what, that was a good job by Granderson because he got the breaking ball and was able to stay alive, fouled it off.
On the ground, and it's going to knock home a run. Solano gets Granderson. The Mets are within a run. And here comes Neuenhuis with nobody on. So the wild pitch, a key in this spot. Neuenhuis a 1 for 3. A 1 is away. Hatcher pitching here in the 8th. Mike Dunn. A.J. Ramos handled the 7th. Alvarez the first 6. Gave up just the 2 runs.
Well, Alvarez came into the game with a 2.81 ERA, and it jumped up to 2.82.
Marlins have 4 with the Nationals starting tomorrow night in Miami. Three with the Phillies. And then 4 more with the Nationals. Solano, nifty pickup, gets the out. Inning over. Mets draw within a run to the 9th. 4-3. The 9th, Gulfstream Park brings you Henderson Alvarez's night.
It was interesting watching Alvarez, who may have had a little different stuff. We saw a few sliders in this one. We didn't see the fastball 96, 97. He got some help with the double play ball. And you know what? When he needed to, he made the right pitches. So 6 innings, 8 hits, 2 runs. Just another walk in the park for the entertainer here at Citi Field.
And here is Mejia, just trying to keep it close for the Mets.
You know, last night, Rich, the game certainly got out of hand. When you lose 9-1, they seem to do that. So it wasn't really a festive party atmosphere. So we never wished Marlins Vice President, General Manager Dan Jennings a happy birthday. So we're a day late, but you know, it's better to wish him a happy birthday with a 1-run lead than trailing 9-1.
Dan Jennings' first year as the Marlins general manager, and it has certainly for the Fish been a big step forward, but with work to do. Kike Hernandez, diving stop, Tejada, Hernandez out. That was close. Terrific play by Tejada, who got down and got rid of it. Mike Redmond starts out of the dugout. Here's a look. Looks like it got him.
Boy, what a play. Tejada in the hole. Got some help. A good stretch from the big guy, Lucas Duda. It appears to be back of the glove just before he gets to the bag.
Not only great play, great call by Greg Gibson. I mean, I don't think we do that enough when it's bang, bang, and a manager comes out or a player says, hey, I beat it, and the umpire gets it right.
Look at Perry Hill eyeballing it as well. So good call by Greg Gibson.
That's got to feel good for an umpire, doesn't it? I mean, it's a bang-bang call. The umpires finally get to know here that that's the other part of this equation. Greg Gibson in last season would make a call like that. Kike Hernandez might argue, first base coach might argue, he doesn't know if he got it right or not. He probably felt he got it right, but he doesn't know. By what just transpired, Greg Gibson knows now he got the call right.
It's confirmation.
It is. Yelich RBI double. And a breaking ball from Mejia. 1-2.
Yeah, Christian Yelich on base 3 times tonight. A couple of walks, a stolen base, a run scored, RBI double. He's done a little bit of everything.
Come on out to Hialeah Park's Havana Cafe every Sunday. Brunch, live music, noon to 3, $13.95 a person. Must be over 21 to dine. Boy, that's a demanding crowd over there for the ball boy.
A lot of pressure on the kid. Told you though earlier, it's a contract year for him. He's made the plays tonight.
He did the safe thing. He chose the lady. And the smart thing. Yelich low. Full count, 3-2, 1 out. Last year, of course, that ball boy in particular, his UZR dropped. A drop in range factor. Had trouble that quadrant to his left.
Well, the tarp got in the way.
Yelich got jammed, and Mejia flips it to first. So the great play by Tejada, a comebacker off the bat of Yelich. And Mejia's got 2 outs. Here comes Solano. Steve Cishek is ready, and he will come in to pitch the bottom of the 9th. Ruben Tejada, pitcher spot. And then the Gator, Matt Den Decker. He's in the leadoff spot. So 8-9-1 for Cishek when he gets here in the 9th. Solano a strike. Milwaukee and St. Louis are still scoreless. Milwaukee needs to win that game. Pittsburgh is clobbering Boston 9-1. And the Brewers are a game and a half behind Pittsburgh in the wild card in the National League. Solano finds right field again. Boy, what a nice series for Solano. He had 3 hits last night. He's got 3 tonight, 7 total.
Yeah, 7 for 15 in the series. He makes this look easy on the breaking ball. When you stay back that way, watch how he just lets the ball get there. Head right on it. And another line drive from Donovan Solano.
Now McGee.
Well, the pitching matchup in that Milwaukee-St. Louis game, an interesting one. Adam Wainwright has gone 6 shutout innings. And Mike Fiers has gone 6 shutout innings, has given up just 1 hit.
Of course, for Fiers, it's his first start after the unfortunate Thursday night in Milwaukee. 0-2 on McGee with 2 outs. 2 more hits for McGee. 169 on the season. A couple of guys on that list, speedsters, former Twin outfielders. Ben Revere, Denard Span. Hunter Pence has got speed.
Pence, yeah, and the way Pence swings, he gets out of the batter's box quickly. He's got that unorthodox swing. But you know what? Casey McGee right there with him. Not with the speed or the unorthodox swing. Right with them in the number of hits.
Marlins have 11 hits tonight and a 1-run lead with 2 outs in the 9th. Pitches up. I told you Joe West today was suspended for a game. Jonathan Papelbon still denies that his gesture was anything intended for the Philly fans. He still maintains he was just adjusting himself. But he also said that he will serve the 7-game suspension and will not appeal.
I think if you saw the still shot that was taken by the photographer,
no question,
from the front side, and you see the look in his face,
no question,
that was not an adjustment look.
Two. Papa down the line. Duda's after it, and he won't get it. Ground down there looks slick. It's been kind of wet, and it still hasn't dried out completely.
Yeah, and we really haven't had rain. It rained yesterday morning, and it stopped about noon.
And Duda unable to get it. McGee still alive. I believe the Phillies have their last 3 games of the year in Philly.
Yeah, I think they finished at home because they're on that long road trip. They're in San Diego, then they go to Oakland, then they come to Miami.
Phillies organization didn't show a whole lot of support, nor did Ryan Sandberg in his post-game comments. And so you got to think that in those last 3 games, they're going to run Papelbon out there a few times.
Well, if he is, he's going to take it from the fans.
Oh, yes. Full count. Solano will be running, and there he goes. And McGee fouls it at the plate. Three-two. It's up. And Mejia walks McGee. Dan Worthen trots out. It's going to be a Marcell Ozuna at bat, and he has swung the bat very well in the ballgame. He's 3 for 4 with a line drive out.
Yeah, the one out, maybe he hit harder than any of his base hits.
So Ozuna to face Mejia.
Yeah, sometimes after that visit from the pitching coach, you maybe get that fastball, and that might have been what Ozuna was looking for. And Mejia threw a nice little get-me-over slider.
Ozuna, broken bat, roller up the middle, and a flip from Tejada gets the out, and the Marlins leave a couple in the ninth. Ruben Tejada leads it off for the Mets. 4-3 Marlins. Here comes Steve Cishek. To Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. Like Kaiser University now offers degrees in sports management. Learn more at kaiseruniversity.edu. And by Florida Power and Lights. New York City, Marlins will bid adieu to Citi Field. They'd like to leave with a win and a series win, and their 74th win of the season. Steve Cishek gets the ball. Cishek looking for save number 37. Ruben Tejada. Marlins bullpen 4 deep tonight. Dunn, Ramos, Hatcher, Cishek. And a strike to open the inning and the at-bat. It's a Bobby Abreu sighting.
Yeah, every night I kept putting his name and the list of extra men on the left side, and we hadn't seen him, but there he is.
So Abreu, and you got Matt Den Decker after that. Good sink on the fastball. He got him. Cishek strikes out Tejada. Lexus of Pembroke Pines upcoming telecast schedule. Nationals from Thursday through Saturday. That's easy. It's 6:30 start with a game time at 7 o'clock. And on Sunday, 12:30 start. Phillies are in for a 3-game set, and that starts on Tuesday. Marlins will see a lot of the Nationals. And I'm sure we will see a lot of the advanced scouts for the Giants, Dodgers, Cardinals, and National League postseason teams.
Well, once again, here the Marlins are involved in a 1-run game.
Nothing new. Abreu always a patient hitter.
Bobby Abreu, in his long and very successful career, has an on-base percentage of close to 400.
Sprays one out to short. Etch to a knee. Fires across in time. 2 outs for Cishek. Decker now. And the South Florida product is 2 for 4. Cishek gets a strike.
You always like it when Cishek comes in, and he's been around the plate on the corners ever since he stepped on the mound.
A 1-run lead, 2 outs, bottom 9, Steve Cishek. Decker cuts and misses.
Well, he's got the good 2-seamer working. He's got the good slider working for him.
He really does. There have been times in the second half where he hasn't had the run on that fastball, on that 2-seamer. Still, on some of those nights, he's been able to figure out a way to get saves. He's made a nice little bounce back. 2-2. Etch slides on his feet. Ball game. Terrific play by Echeverria. And the Marlins beat the Mets and win the series. And for Miami, win number 74 comes here in New York.
And Rich, of those 74 wins, 35 have been 1-run games.
Marcell Ozuna, Adeiny Echeverria, Donovan Solano all had big nights tonight. 4-3 Marlins beat the Mets.